Hi, and welcome to our second edition of True Love Exclusive. And today we're talking to the fabulous, the beautiful Kariuki. You know her as the fashionable stepmom. Apart from being a mom, she's also an image consultant. Catherine, karibu.
Asante.
We're so happy to have you with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I was telling you represent every mother. Because you have your own child, you represent the biological mother,
yes.
You've adopted 2 children, and then you also are raising 3 children.
Yeah, my 3 stepkids.
Yeah. Your 3 stepkids from your relationship with your husband. So I feel that every woman who's a mother can relate to you. So first and foremost, with everything that's going on, homeschooling, how are you coping in these times of Corona?
It was difficult in the beginning. You can imagine anxiety from the kids, not knowing what's going to happen, having to ensure all the kids get home from wherever they were in the world. I myself getting home from Cuba.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were in Cuba?
I was in Cuba.
When just before we were...
Yeah, before lockdown. So I came back a day or 2 before lockdown. Yeah, so it was... There's a lot of anxiety. We didn't know how it was going to go. But now I think we have a rhythm or a routine. Okay, sometimes I think I have it. Some days I think I don't have it.
Yes.
So, every day you wake up and you try. Give it a try. Settling down with online learning. It's a bit intense because you can imagine how many children I have. I'm not very good at technology, but I've had to learn.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge with every parent right,
yeah, exactly.
right now.
Yeah.
Feeling like you have to go back to school, you have to refresh, and looking a bit stupid in front of your children because you quite don't know what they're learning, and you have to teach yourself before you can teach them.
That's what I do. So what I do is that's why I keep telling people I sleep at 1 a.m. because I have to look at the work and then prepare before the day.
Wow.
So that now we can start. Otherwise, we waste a lot of time doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you got married. You were taking on your partner's 4 children.
4 children.
Yes. Did it give you any pause to think, why do I want to get into a relationship with a person who has children, as opposed to someone else who, we can create a family of our own together?
Funny enough, I never thought about it that way. I think I started having anxiety when I was in it, and it was a bit too late because I was already in. I was 22, I was young, I was positive. And I thought, how hard would it be? The kids were small. I think the oldest, Michelle, was 10. And the kids were small. I thought, what? I like these kids. They love me back. In my own naive mind, although my mom was very, very against it, but at that time I'd already made up my mind. This is what I want to do. I think the anxiety and this doubt started when I was with the kids and they are living with us. And I was like, what? I'm going to make this work.
I'm going to swim. I'm going to go in and swim.
Exactly. These are already children who've gone through loss. Yes. Divorce is a loss.
And so talk to me about you're dating this man. He tells you I have 4 children. The first meeting with the children. So, what does that look like?
So they figure it out by themselves.
So he had the conversation and
he had the conversation with them and he told them at home because we were not living together that time. And then invited them to my house. We had lunch and everything. But I'll be very honest, he did most of the talking.
Okay.
Because it's not in my place
to speak at that particular time. Did you feel pressure like, I want these children to love me? Do you falling over yourself? First of all, I have to look good. I have to make sure I've cooked a great meal. What was that like? The children have come and the children are interviewing the stepmom.
Yes.
Possibly.
Yeah, it is an interview. Yeah. They've already prepared themselves. Everyone has their questions and they're shooting their shots.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
So don't forget their age difference is 1 year. So there's 10, 9, 8, 7. So that's why I call them the gang.
Yes,
so the gang has come.
Yes.
And so I remember there's this book called Tupike.
Yeah.
That book saved me.
Yes.
So I was there trying everything. You're being nice. You can jump on my bed. You can do whatever.
Yes.
They had a free hand for a while. Then after 1 year, a year and a half, I was like,
no.
Enough.
Yes.
The true me had to come out.
Yes. Yeah. And, when you talk about the true me coming out, but then there's also the issue of how do you discipline them, especially when you don't want to look like the evil stepmother. Yes.
So it goes in stages. So first we have the divorce, them going through, then the transition, getting to know me. During transition period, I can't discipline them. It's the father to discipline. It's not in my place. So it took me years to build that relationship. Let's say 3 years. And then now, the disciplining now became me. Now I'm the one who does the disciplining. But you see, it took them to know that I come from a good place, that I love them, that I'm doing this for their benefit. And the father also supported me. I took a manila paper, wrote all the house rules and the consequences we discussed. So, if you've done this, these are the consequences. And I'm not going to be the one who's going to make you do the consequences. You'll have a talk with your dad. Mine is just to report. And I'll only report when it has escalated. Because if I keep reporting every time, then they will see that I'm trying to put them into trouble.
Yes.
So even you as a woman, not every little thing will you go run. No. You also have to understand, put yourself in that child's shoe and think, if I woke up one morning and I'm being told to call this other woman mom, how would you feel?
Yeah.
You'll definitely have rejection. You have loyalty issues. Where do your loyalty lie with my mom? So be patient with the children.
I can see that. And, when I think about stepmoms and just the fact that a lot of people who've been raised in families with stepmoms only have bad stories to say. I love, when I watch the videos, with you and them, they call you mom.
Yeah.
Was that something that you insisted on from the beginning, or how did you earn the title mom? Because I think in your case, you had to earn it.
I earned it.
Yeah.
And we never forced them. You see, a man will come in and want to make you comfortable and force them.
Yes.
I told him that's the wrong way. So I told him, whatever name you find fit, Kathy, Auntie Kathy, it doesn't change anything. So in the beginning, there was Auntie Kathy. Some days they won't even acknowledge you. They're in your house, they walk down the stairs, there's no good morning.
So how do you deal with that?
You move along. Because there's
like,
nothing
today
personal.
we're not talking.
I had rules. Like I said, I had rules written down. Courtesy. We don't have to love one another. We don't have to like one another. But in this house, we are going to respect one another. These things trickle down.
It's a
people
journey.
are talking about it. They come home, their mood has been spoiled. So they'll just call me Auntie Kathy. Then I think, was it 5 years later? They just one day, mom. It just happened. And it's fine. Yeah.
You talked about the children being the gang. But I'm sure you also had to deliberately develop relationships with each child. Yes. How did you go about doing that so that it's not us and me and them, or us and them? How did you go about doing that?
In the beginning, it feels like them and me, because Mike and his kids, them and me. And then when we get married, it feels me and him and then them. So I started with the girls. They were more easier. I started with the little girl, Katricia, who was the youngest of them all. It was easier for her to accept me. So I became friends with her. Then the rest are like, yeah, it's happening. Even us, let's join the bandwagon. So my girls were the first, and then the boys came later on. And even some days I feel like I have the boys and I don't have them, So, and they're going through teenagehood, and boys don't always communicate how they feel. They don't talk as much. Even when we were going for therapy, because we all had to go for therapy, each one had their own session. So everyone, and then once a week, all of us.
Did it help? Did the therapy help?
It helped. It was amazing.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I've made it.
Yeah, because I know that, us as Africans, there's a lot of stigma towards looking for help, especially in marriages or family situations. People sort of feel, you guys will survive. You don't need to take your business out there. So what did you take or learn from the therapy?
I had to go for therapy because there was no one to talk to. There were no support groups. I can't go to my mom because she'll be like, you choose your bed, you lie on it. I don't have any friends to talk to. I'm like, I need to go for therapy, because what happens is I'm giving and not receiving the same back. And at the end of the day, I end up being very bitter. So I decided, what? I am the one who decided to go for therapy, me and Mike. Because what happens when I have these feelings, I come back and I throw them on him.
And just realize the child is mourning the loss of a relationship that she thought or he thought was going to be lifelong between their parents, and it's not you. It's not personal. It's
Trust
not
me,
you.
Don't think it's when the kids don't, like when I came to the picture, it's not like they had anything personal against Kathy as a person. Whether it have been Kathy, Mary, Jane, as long as you're not their mother, it will not be easy for them to accept you. At the end of the day, every child wants their mother and their father together. That's simple. So view it from the child's perspective.
So your husband's ex also has rights to the children. So how is that dynamic in terms of also sometimes you find that children feel conflicted because they feel, if I love you, then it means that I'm betraying my mom or my dad.
That's what I call loyalty binds. So you have to remember something. you will never be their mother. You're just their stepmom. Their loyalty lies with their mom. So for you, it, like you say, you have to win them over. You have to earn it over time. And the moment you show the children that you're okay with it, like in my house, they're so comfortable. Their mom will call them, they receive a call, able free to talk. I want to go visit my mom. I want to go have coffee with my mom. It doesn't. You cannot separate them from their biological parents. Show them it's okay to love them both. It took therapy for me to get there. That when I give, I don't give expecting something back. I'm here to love these children, to take care of them, to raise them.
So being selfless.
Being selfless. And you, like I always say to every person, a stepdad or a stepmom coming into a blended family, you win some, you lose some. You'll have different relationships with each. There are some relationships are deeper and there are some are not. And that's fine.
Yeah. So how do you go about, and do you think it's even important to create a relationship with your partner's ex for the sake of the children?
Yes. So when you come in, remember, every person who was in that family, the wife, the husband, the kids, have suffered a loss. They're all mourning, they're dealing with it the best way they know how. Like I said, there's no manual. I have no alliances with anyone. From the beginning, I didn't pick sides. I wasn't there when Mike was married 10 years. So I will honestly tell you the truth, I let Mike handle his ex. It is not my work. It will be amazing if you can be friends. But if I reach out and it doesn't work out, then you deal with your person. And why do you have to deal with your person? Is because we need to create a conducive environment for these children.
Yes.
If you can be friends with the ex, amazing. But I will be very honest and tell you the truth. They don't always. Rare. It is very rare, especially in our African context. Maybe the younger generation are able to do it, but the older generation. So even the ex, you win them slowly over time.
Let's even talk about relatives, because relatives can come and again, even they are mourning the divorce, and they want you to take sides, or they want to alienate the children. I don't know why we do that as Africans. You want to alienate children from this woman, or maybe it's because we think the stepmom is still evil. In our minds.
I always say, I'm trying to rewrite the story. You have in-laws who will give you a chance and others who will never give you a chance. So the point is this. I keep on saying you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't.
Yes. So just live your life.
Just live your life.
And love your children.
Love your children, do the best you can. Be a good human being. At the end of the day, the same way even in life, you can't win them all. And don't worry too much about it. Yeah.
And thank you for that. And also when we look, you have your own biological child.
Yes.
So did having him improve things on the home front? Did it, a lot of people feel if we have a child together, then everybody sort of like now begins to bond over this child because there's his, hers, and ours. Did that help?
It did. In a way, Shawn helped bond everyone, but it's a very stressful situation. I said, think about it. Because when there's this new child, everyone is on edge. The children are like, are you going to pick sides? Will you love him more than us? Will you give him more? And for me, it was very stressful managing that. So Shawn came very early. He was a preterm baby. Came at 7 months. The stress was too much. But he helped in terms of, I also didn't depend too much on my stepchildren for that acceptance, for that love back. So I had my own who loved me unconditionally, which my stepchildren can't.
Yes.
So it helped me tone down in terms of my expectations. I didn't expect too much. And the moment you don't expect too much, that's when they give back.
So everything is a pleasant surprise.
Yes, and they love their brother, and Shawn doesn't know the difference yet. But I'm reaching a point where I have to explain to him what it means.
Okay, so in the sense of, say, disciplining, there are times when, say, Shawn, who's your biological child, could be doing something right, and the other children are doing something wrong. So disciplining your stepchildren without making it appear that you're taking sides or you're favoring your biological child, how do you handle that?
So I'm more hard on Shawn because I don't suffer from that feeling of where they feel I'm unfair. No, my older kids tell me, Mom, why don't you discipline us the same way? Why are you not as tough like that on Shawn? We understand, you come from a place of love. So they demand the same. Now we've reached that level.
Do you love him more because he came from you?
Yes, definitely. And I have no apologies. He's mine. He's my own. The same way that people will say, can they have the same things? Will he have more? It depends on the instances. Like right now, they have more in terms of they can go to their moms and have that and this. Shawn only has one. So sometimes automatically Shawn will have more. But also sometimes they have more than Shawn. Shawn has only one home. They have 2 homes.
So making peace with the fact that you will love your biological child more, but you won't necessarily show it in terms of playing favorites.
I'm very careful.
Okay.
I'm actually more tough on Shawn. I'm very even when I was giving birth to Shawn, I didn't have that time to baby him like I'd baby a newborn because the rest are watching. They are watching you to see what you are doing. If I'm cuddling him, I'm cuddling all 5 of them. If I'm buying him newborn clothes, you have to buy the rest a bit. Always in your mind, you're balancing.
That's great wisdom.
You're always balancing.
Yeah, and now let's talk about the man who brought all this together.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the children are a very real pressing need. But the reason why you have the children anyway is because you fell in love with this man. So how has he, say, for instance, supported you in as you came to love your children or in creating your new family? How has he supported you in very real practical ways that somebody watching can say, a man watching who's in a similar situation can say, okay, maybe that's what I need to do. Yeah.
Without his support, we would not have made it. First of all, you have to be me and him are a team. We sat down and said, this is a team. So Mike talks to the kids and tell them, Kathy is my choice. Love will grow, but you're going to respect her. She's who I've chosen, and she's my choice. In terms of making decisions and talking to the kids, we always we speak the same language.
Yes.
If I have said there's no going out, he has to repeat the same. Whether he understands why or not, he can come ask me behind where I said no.
Yes.
Because we all also understand we are all coming from a place of good.
Yes.
So he had to trust me for us to get to that level.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So he really stand up for me. His parents, his relatives, his friends. He said, Kathy is my choice. This is what I've chosen.
And I love what you're saying, that he stood up for you.
He did.
Because it's very hard for you. You're coming from 2 steps back.
Yes.
And even with the children,
did.
and with the relatives. And so how do you go about making your relationship a priority?
I'll be very honest. If you're not best of friends, where you don't now have to put so much effort in maintaining the relationship, it comes naturally, we wouldn't have made it. Because there are times we really don't have time for each other. So we're clear, this is it. You're going to make it work, whether we like it or not. So I guess from then on, it has just been, we're not looking back.
Also, let's talk about the traditional African male. So given the 18-year age gap, he's probably a lot more traditional in his outlook than you are. How do you
I don't.
deal with the fact that he's he's more traditional?
Funny enough, Mike is more easy than me, and I'm the younger one. He's more an extrovert. He's easy. Even when I met him with his kids, the relationship he has with kids is very easy. He'll hug his children, he'll play with them. But there are things which are traditional, like, cook for the house, be respectful.
So do you cook for the house?
Yes, I enjoy it. I have to. I have to.
Okay.
I enjoy cooking. There are things
Is there a menu? Is there a menu?
In my house, you have to have a menu.
Okay.
Or things are not going to work.
Yeah.
If people cook whatever they want, it's all going to work.
And everybody eats what's on the menu?
Everyone eats what's on the menu.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work.
Not that you go and
No,
you don't like...
You will stay hungry. So the thing is, that's why I say meet in the middle. And it wasn't very hard for us to merge because as much as younger than him, I'm old at heart. I matured very fast. I'm an old soul, being the middle child, but like the first born, my dad died and I became my mom's best friend. So there are things that I know which are not to him.
Yeah.
But he's liberal. For him, he's 52, now 53, but he doesn't operate like he's 53. He's actually more young at heart than me.
Yeah. All right. And now let's also talk about... you lost a son. You and Mike lost your son, Josiah. And I think today some woman is going to be watching this and she's lost a child as well. And what was that? That must have been, such a huge devastation for all of you. What happened?
So Josiah committed suicide in 2017, May 3rd, and we were away with the dad in the UK. We just left on the 2nd, we arrived at the UK, and then on the 3rd. So he shot himself on the head with the dad's gun, and he had looking back, I don't know if he meditated, but looking back, I think he had mental health issues. He wasn't speaking up fine. As a family, we all see therapists and counselors, which he was, but he did very well. And so he took his own life. So we came back. It was a very big shock. Again, the loss is different to all of us.
And you were out of the country,
and
then you get this phone call.
Yeah, we just landed. Now we had to come back.
What was those 8 hours like?
It was the worst. I can't even explain.
You're crying on the flight.
First of all, when he shot himself, they called us, and I thought he was going to make it. So he was still alive. Went to hospital. He was awake, I think, for 2 days, and then he passed on. Already the doctor was telling us, he may not make it because he shot himself in the head. But I was very hopeful. But on our flight back, the layover, Mike got a call, and when he walked away, I figured, you know what, he's gone. So he didn't tell me, but I knew. So when I came back, the first thing was I wanted to go to the mortuary to see for myself because I left a boy who was alive. So when I went to Lee, I saw the boy. And now here is where our personalities come to play. I'm like, you know what, we're going to be strong, we're going to deal with this. So now I'm already on. We're going to make this work, we're going to do the burial, I'm going to involve the man, we're going to accept this truth, say the real story, say how it went, we're not going to lie, we're going to be open. Mike is still in shock. The kids have lost a brother, he lost his son.
Who found him?
The brother, the younger brother, because they were getting ready to go to school because of them. Both of them had exams. Yeah. Joshua was doing his A11 and Josiah was doing his IB2 exams. So he'd already even paid a deposit for the university. He's picked University of Manchester. So yeah, you can imagine how it was such a shocking thing for us. And so we had to go through the process and to go through the motions. But there's one thing I told my kids and I told Mike. I sat down and I told them, you know what? We're not going to lie down on the floor and stop living. The only way to honor his memory is to continue pushing and to continue living. I'm sure the moment he pulled the trigger, he regretted it, but it was too late.
Did you have any inkling that he was struggling before that?
I always say Josiah was the alpha male. He had everything organized. I left him with things he had to do. But he did them then. He did whatever we sent him to do, all the documents, whatever he had to do. So he was the most stable and reliable one of them all. And that's why I say mental health is a disease, and the people who suffer from it become very good actors. Yeah. They're good at covering it up. The people we least expect. Yeah. And the thing is, we are very open at home. We talk about everything. But then he still wasn't able to speak. Yeah. Maybe he had this high expectation on himself that he had to be a certain way. Yeah.
How did it change the family?
It changed all of us in different ways. I think we're all still in the journey of healing. We all process it differently. It really affected Mike because Mike really loves his children. So for Mike, it's all the sacrifice. Where did I go wrong? Even as a parent, as me, I asked myself, how come I didn't see it? For me, it was after all the sacrifice and trying so hard to love him and to create a home and a family still wasn't enough. And we are nearly at the end. He just turned 18. We share, our birthdays are like 5 days apart. So he just turned 18, we had a party together. He wrote me an amazing card, said sorry for all the days they were mean and they loved me and appreciate. So when we're just nearing the other side, then it happened. So we all experienced loss in a different way. We all went for counseling. For the brother, it was a bit tough, the one who found him. We gave him a break. But now people are getting there slowly by slowly. But it will never be the same. The only way to try maybe deal with it, because there's no guarantee, is to form the Josiah Gatherer Foundation, allow people, create a space for people to talk about mental health struggles, for parents to be able to reach out. Mental health doesn't choose age, sex, social status.
Did you blame yourself? Did you think, I failed? That's one question. The second question is, how did you deal with maybe people who said that this happened because of you coming into?
So the thing is, in the beginning, I didn't sort of blame myself, but because I knew I had done the best and enough, and maybe that's why I was able to go through it. But how come I didn't see it? Went through therapy, the part of blame, was dealt with over time because you did your best. About people thinking that maybe was it her fault, I never struggled with it because people had known our story all along.
Yes.
Knew I was there to love him and stuff, so I didn't encounter that. The people would say that people who don't know you.
Yes.
So then again, you also don't worry too much about it.
Yes.
Yeah, and at that time you're so grief-stricken that you don't even pay attention to those things. Now after a while you're like, oh, this is what was said. This is what the newspaper article said. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And to any woman who's lost a child, who's grieving, like, what would you say? How do they deal with it?
I'd say the biggest part is acceptance and owning it. It's a continuous process. So I'd say acceptance is very important because that's when you start seeking help and the healing journey comes.
Thank you for that. Did you have to be more affirming to everybody, to affirm Mike that yes, you did do a good job, this happened, but as a father, because at such points I'm sure people question themselves, affirm the siblings as well. So put aside your own grief and realize that you are the one person who has to now affirm everybody.
Yeah, so if you're the neutral party in a blended family, I call it the Olivia Pope syndrome. You're the fixer. So
I like that. Olivia Pope
syndrome.
Yes.
You have to fix.
Yes.
So I have no time to sit and mourn and feel sorry for myself. Because if I don't step in,
you have to hold everybody.
Yes.
You have to hold everybody up.
Yeah, and that's why therapy even for you is important because who will hold you up?
Yes, true.
So I had to hold all of them, assure my kids that, what, the siblings were like, how come they sit? How come? I said, wherever he's right now, that's not what he would like you to do. I don't know, but I don't think that's what he'd like you to do. So he wants you to live your best life and take what you can from whatever happened. Learn from it. Yeah, even my kids are very conscious and alert. Even when their friends talk about any mental health, they call mom, can you talk to Nani's mom? Because now they're very aware. And you as parents, once you're able to talk about it, then even the children will slowly come out.
Yeah. I always say that, grief is, losing a person is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
One day you're fine for 5 years, then something triggers you after 5 years, and you have to be patient with yourself.
Grief is a lifelong process.
So let's now talk about you. Kathy, we've talked about the children, we've talked about Mike, now let's talk about you and all of that. So how, describe yourself. Who is Kathy?
I was born in a family of 5. I'm a middle child. Middle child, but still
do you have
firstborn.
middle child syndrome? Do you feel like you were neglected?
I do feel like that. But I think for me it made me stronger. So I had to find my way. I had to figure out things on my own. And it helped me become a stronger person. When my dad passed on when I was 10, I became my mom's best friend. So I grew up very fast. And maybe that's why I was able to marry someone older. I was able to mature very fast. Yeah.
Being the middle child, which is very interesting, and you had brothers, but she came to you for support.
Yeah, I would be the one who would listen through my mom's door when she's crying, ask her, why were you crying, find out, do you have enough money? Okay, we budget. My mom taught me how to budget. I don't know what's in the bank account. I remember when I was in 3rd year, my brother was joining 1st year, and I had to sacrifice doing my exams so that he can do his. So I learned to sacrifice early in life, and so next time I had 18 papers to do instead of 9.
Wow. What's at the back of your mind? How would you encourage women to prioritize themselves? So it's not just the man and the children, but even me.
I had done exactly that, having met Mike and having to sacrifice a lot to win over the kids, to form a family, Where I usually say when my 22-year-olds were in the club, I was at home raising children. I missed out a lot, but I also gained a lot. And I remember when I gave birth to Shawn, and he was 1.5, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was 96 kilos. I said, it's got to change. I looked at myself, I didn't like how I looked. When Mike met me, I was 60 kilos, I was young. Then over time, you let yourself go, unajiachilia, you put the kids first, and you realize I'm resentful. When I went to India, I told the doctor I want to see a bariatric surgeon. So when I did my mini gastric bypass, Mike was very shocked as I fixed my hernia. I came back, said...
And you did this because you wanted to lose weight?
I wanted to lose weight.
Okay, so most people will go to the gym.
I did.
And do a diet. You did that
I did that. I remember I did that with Sherry. We had a group at Jaffrey's. I keep telling people, the first time I went to Jaffrey's, I was 94 kilos. I'll never forget my therapist, Mary. told me, Kathy, you have to come first. Love yourself first. This savior syndrome, Jesus syndrome, no, you need to stop. And I started taking care of myself, exercising, eating well. Once in a while, I tell Mike and the kids, bye. I've gone, I've traveled. And if people watch my blogs and stuff, I wake up and I go. I sort out the house and everything, and I say, you know what? Liwe liwalo.
And it's important. I mean, how important is it for a woman to actually take time out, to even travel by yourself?
I travel on my own, with my friends. The same for me to be a mom. I can be all these things.
Yeah.
And then that way, I'm also happy with myself.
Yes. Yeah. Live your life as you live it together with your children.
Exactly. And we are growing, we are learning. I make mistakes, they make mistakes, and it is okay. And I'm able to tell my children sorry when I have failed.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for that. Your final thoughts, what would you say to the new moms right now, or to any moms on their motherhood journey?
At the end of the day, we all have different journeys. We're not all meant to be moms. We're not all meant to be wives. Own your journey and accept it. Comparison is a thief of joy. I'd say love yourself. You come first. You love me first, the rest of you can join the bandwagon when you're ready. And I come first.
I love it. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Kathy. You're a wellspring of wisdom. A wellspring of wisdom. Women need to hear more from you. Make sure to follow the Fashionable Stepmom on Instagram if you're not yet doing that. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss another interview like this again.